and he said something and said, when you're 40, your name is sorry. That is really traumatic. And there's also something that I see on social media where a lot of people would say that leave your marriage and go become a side chick to another man. I think that is a yardstick for most men abusing their spouses because already they are the alpha who are now determining how the other person ends. When you think somebody doesn't end well, you have every reason why you want to abuse them, right? First and foremost, going to the first question, if you're 40, your name is sorry because your time is gone. Can you react to that?
I'm sorry, me
I
or him?
Yes, can you react to that? At least there are so many women who are here and listening to us
He said,
because
if
that
you're
is
40,
traumatic to some women. I saw the comment section and how people reacted. You know,
I'm sorry. So what he's saying is that if a woman is 40, her what?
her name is sorry. It's, in terms of relationships and in terms
You
of
know,
marriage.
I think that is a very negative and false assumption because what if, I find it difficult to really believe that somebody in this time and age will make such a comment when we know that people in their 60s have even found love. So we don't know the narrative. I'm one person, I don't believe in like, everything fits one. What if that person at 40 wanted to self-develop? What if that person found herself at 40? There are so many reasons why someone would choose because we're talking about constantly becoming a better version of yourself. Maybe it took her that long to realize that, look, I need to engage in self love because the more I love myself, the better person I would be to receive that better love and love someone else. So, however long it takes you, then that's how long you should wait. There is no yardstick or um, there is no law that says you have to be this age to be in a relationship. Absolutely not. We are individuals. Everybody has a life and a purpose. We came into this world differently. We live differently. And everybody has a lane that they have to follow. So people make mistakes because they're looking at their mates. Even the Bible says when you compare yourself with others, you're not wise. So somebody married at 25, so what? And you're 40 and you're becoming nervous that you're not married? No. You have something that you're pursuing. So when you feel you have everything about life is readiness. If you feel ready, it's just like food. We may start cooking at the same time, but what you're preparing is not what I'm preparing. So if I'm looking at your own meal and say, oh, she's already done in an hour and mine is taking 3 hours, and then you're saying that the meal I'm preparing is a sorry meal, please think again because you need your mind fixed. That is a totally wrong assumption to make. And people fall into this deception that they are going by the standard that people are providing for them, but realizing, forgetting that it's you and God only. Everything else is secondary.
This is a very beautiful answer. Unbreakable, get your mind fixed. It's just all I can tell you. God bless you, the gentleman joining me. How are you? Hey.
I'm fine, thank you. Good
Okay.
evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
So, do you want to react to what your brother on the street said about a woman 40 and her name is sorry? Do you think that is a nice word to use?
Not only is it not nice, it's actually incorrect. I have listened to Unbreakable, right? I think
Yes,
that's his name.
yes, unbreakable. Everybody knows him for his bad behavior,
Yeah,
actually.
I've seen a lot of his comments. I've seen a lot of them. I saw his graph. I actually joined this live today because of that graph, because I actually want to challenge that graph.
Good.
Um, sorry, my audio.
Not true at all. But
Well, the
disagree.
assumption is at some point the girl will have started dating. And if she started dating since about 15 years old, for example, because they start very young these days. And if she has started dating since
Sorry,
like
give
15,
me a
by
minute. Today's topic is overcoming
True.
relationship trauma. I'm going to pin it here on my ministry's website. Continue.
Okay, so if you look at the number of years she has spent dating, she's most likely going to have been with more men than a young girl who is maybe 21. I understand the point you make that the number of years is not what determines, but it's just more of a logical conclusion because of how long they've both been on this planet. Yes, there are some 21-year-olds that are a lot more promiscuous. They've been with a lot of men and all of that. That is true. But I think, generally speaking, you will expect a woman who is older to probably have dated
Okay, I
more
have
men because
a
she has
Can I
question
spent.
for
say
you.
something
Okay.
there?
Okay, yes,
Um,
one of them.
I totally disagree, even though I like your narrative, but I totally disagree with this because how long someone has been on earth is not the value,
Yeah.
because there are people that have more values. There are people that were raised in environments of great values, where core values were instilled in them at a very young age.
Yes.
So you find it that even at 35, that woman may have had just one
Just
relationship
one.
that didn't go
Yes.
right. And she decides, I'm going to work on myself before I get into another relationship. It may take her 5 years. So core value is what determines how long or how many people one has slept with, not how old they are. There again, you might find a 21-year-old that has had strings of men that she's slept with,
Definitely.
especially at this day and age where it's all about competition. They want the one that will buy them the most expensive hair and this. So I don't believe that age has anything to do with how long one. It's all about core values and how because self-love and care determine, because if you love yourself, then there is also that self-respect, which makes you understand that I'm a person of high value. Not everyone has that right to come close to me, talk of touching me. So that's where I totally disagree. But everything else he's saying, I agree
Yeah.
with.
So I have a question for him actually.
Okay.
A woman who is close to her 40s, or
Yeah.
let's say she's 40, that has been married for, let's say she got married at 20, right, or 25, and has been married for 15 years,
Okay.
and something happened and got divorced at 40.
Yes.
Are you saying that that woman has slept with more people than a girl who is 25? Let me ask you that.
No. No. Like I said, I
So,
don't
because you said something about
necessarily.
sexual values,
And then
this woman
Well,
has
statistically,
been locked up with one man for 15 years.
yes. You see, the problem I think most of the time is there is men normally most time have a specific perception of what a woman's sexual history is. It might not necessarily be true, but that is the perception. That is why I agree with Mommy here when she said that your age is not what determines the number of people you have been
Exactly.
with. That is perfectly true. But unfortunately, in the sexual market, that's not the way men perceive it. The logical, well, it's not even logical by the way, but the perception is that the older you are, the more men you've likely been with. That is the perception. It's not necessarily true, it's just the perception. But the fact is, the vast majority of men hold this view and they hold this perception as well. But for a woman who got divorced, for me, I don't even have a problem with a 40-year-old woman, personally. It's not a problem for me. I'd rather be with a grown adult than some 21, 22. I mean, we don't have anything in common. I don't have what I'm doing with a 21-year-old girl at this stage of my life right now. So a 21-year-old girl is still learning life, probably doesn't know anything. She doesn't even know who she is. She doesn't even know what she's looking for in a man. So I don't think there's anything wrong with being 40 years old. I don't think your value is any less as a human being. And I think women as well need to stop letting men determine what
thank
their
you.
value.
Sure.
They need to stop listening to men. You have to. You can't calibrate your life to fit into what some people think.
You are your own
You
value.
Sure.
Create it.
yes, you have to come out and say, how can I be the best version of myself? And that best version could come in the shape of being a business person. You can make some money. You don't have to depend on a man for money. You don't have to let a man manipulate you just because he pays your bills. And a better version of yourself could be going to school, get a good job, contribute to the society, help the need, help the poor. There's so many other things you can be I think we have done a disservice to women because we have always told women that your value is dependent on what men place on it, and I think it's a very very wrong way of reasoning with it. But I'm glad the younger women of today are starting to fight back on that. Even though they are not as brazen as the guys, obviously Unbreakable is always going to be more brazen than everybody else. But I actually joined this show to challenge his graph today. I've seen that graph. I know where it is coming from. But I think the graph is flawed, and the reason I think it's flawed is he picked something that is a human issue, then turned it into a woman problem. That is what I observed in that graph, because his argument is okay. Everybody wants to date the men at the top, but if you ask the men to make the list of the women they want to date as well, they don't want to date the woman at the bottom of their list. They want to date the woman at the top of their list as well. So how is it different from how is the man who wants to date the women at the top of his list, which are probably going to be women that are virgins, they are very submissive. You know the normal thing, Unbreakable normally.
So everybody has the top of their list then. It's not just the woman.
It's not just the woman that is aiming for the top. I'm pretty sure if Unbreakable makes his list now, the women at the bottom of his list are not the women he's going for.
Good.
He's going for that woman at the top. So if he is going for that woman at the top, why is it a problem that the woman is looking for the man at the top of her list as well? That's not a woman problem. That's a human.
So is
thing.
it bad? Okay, is it bad for a woman to aim high?
It's not. I think you should aim as high as possible so that even if you fall off, you won't fall too far from your aim. That's what I think. I don't think you should be realistic though, because I think there are a lot of women who are also not realistic.
True.
But I think generally you should aspire to have a man who wants to take care of you, pays your bills, wants to be. I'm not really the kind of men leading women kind of person, but if that's what you are looking for, that's fine. Generally, God-fearing man wants to pay your bills, has a lot of money. I mean, who wouldn't want somebody, even if I have the opportunity to choose a friend who has money and a friend who is broke, I would choose my friend that has money. So why would you blame women for choosing a man who has money when even you have the opportunity, you choose your friends that have money more than the poor ones? And besides, men have always been saddled with that responsibility that they are supposed to take care of the women. I don't necessarily agree with it because the world economy has become extremely hostile to men, for example. Not many men have the ability to provide the way the society expects them to provide.
Sorry, as I'm seeing you now, I'm regretting that I accepted you. I'm sorry. As I just see your face, I'm regretting that I accepted you. And don't prove yourself like that. Just do better. Just do better.
No. Mama, we good. Just that we are disciples of Unbreakable, so we are good. No wahala.
There are many of them.
There are many of them. See, let me tell you, you're the only good guy in the street right now. If you're not married, come to me later. You are the only good guy on the streets now. All of them, they are bad as you're seeing them. And I know them. So that's why when most of them come to my inbox and say, I need a wife, I look at them and I laugh.
Mama,
you want to molest somebody's daughter?
No, Mama, I'm out of the market already. I just have an exception to. I understand where it's coming from, and I totally agree with some of his submission. But we need to create a balance. You understand? There needs to be a balance because the chaos we're seeing in the world today, whether we like it or not, right now, for the past 2 decades, women have been having their way. What is the world turning into? Women have been having their way.
When you say women have been having their ways, how?
Women have been having their way. Their voices are being heard now.
Where?
But now that their voices are being heard, what are we seeing in the society? You understand now? So the balance I want to bring here right now, because I have a wife, I do not suppress my wife. I allow her to have a will.